have this vivid memory of sitting in the bathtub one time and just crying.
I think I punched my dad once.
You're not in charge of me right now. Like, you just won't leave me alone.
I had an epidural in my back, so I couldn't move very well.
She just wanted me to keep pushing and keep going.
Everybody had one. Like, if you didn't have one, you were looked down upon.
This is a show where teenagers share their experiences growing up in today's world. I'm your host, Dr. RJ, and this is A Teen's Perspective.
So what I want to share with you today is everything I talk to you about is going to be about a goal, like you getting what you want. So just to help me out so I know what you guys want, put it in the chat. And I want something that you really, really want right now. Put it in the chat so I can check it out. I'm going to read it. If I find some common wants, we're going to tackle it and we're going to try to help you guys get there. So I see better grades, PS5, good grades, abundance. I like that word. More friends, a great basketball player, money, a car, straight A's, a job, a better mind. I like that. Who said Kennedy? That's what I'm talking about, Kennedy. Confidence. I like it. Evan says money, more trust from my parents and friends. I like that. I can help that. I can help with that. So, you know what's so funny? I do this probably almost every single time I'm with you. And guess what? I'm telling you, man, humans are predictable. This is exactly what everybody else is wanting. I'm just telling you, like most of this stuff is what everybody wants. Better grades, more friends, either more trust from their parents or a better relationship with their parents. They want a PS5. That's popular, man. Twitch, they want to stream or something on Twitch, relationships, all that, right? So you guys all want the same things for the most part. Now, I want to talk to you today about the two things that's holding you back from getting it right now. All right, so you might want to take some notes. I think it's worth it. Two things holding you back from getting what you want. So this is anything, grades, how you feel about yourself, going to another country, a better relationship. These two things are going to hold you back, and they are the double H's, okay? H's, all right? So you want to write these down. These two things will literally destroy your success. Now, for some of you, these two things are super, super subtle. You got to find them, okay? So I'm going to help you kind of think through it to find it because we all have it, all right? First, I got to tell you what they are. So the two H's are hopelessness and helplessness, okay? So it's you're either hopeless or you're helpless. Now, some of you are both, which is a very, very dangerous, I would say, position to be in because that means it's very difficult to make any action to move forward. So it's hopeless and helpless. So I'm going to give you some examples. An example of being helpless would be that I want a PS5. And if I just had money, I'll be able to buy it. But I don't have a way of making money. I'm only 14 years old. How am I going to buy a PS5? That is helpless, okay? So that person is helpless. And that helplessness will hold this person back from getting a PS5 because it is possible for a 14-year-old to make enough money to buy a PS5. In fact, I've personally helped a 15-year-old make $3,000 a month starting a little side business. Personally, I've helped that person. So that's helplessness. Then we have hopelessness. Hopelessness is basically like there's just no hope. Like, for example, I want a later curfew. And RJ is like, hey, RJ, RJ's telling me to try this. Why bother? RJ, you don't know my parents. Trust me. There's no hope. All right. My parents are so stubborn. Nothing I would do would ever, my parents would change their mind on that. Right. So that's hopelessness. Both of them will prevent you from getting what you want. Now, let me ask you guys this question. You give me thumbs up or thumbs down. Thumbs up. Is it possible that if your parents have told you no 100 times, is it possible that the 101 time that they'll say yes? Is that possible? Thumbs up if it's possible, thumbs down if it's not possible. I see a couple thumbs up. I see thumbs down. I see thumbs up, thumbs down. All right. So if you're thumbs down, that is hopelessness. Okay? Hopelessness. And if you believe that, you will not be successful getting what you want with your parents. Does that make sense? Raise your hands. It's all making sense. Because it's important that you guys know this. Because what I have found, remember this, I'm going to read what you guys put here. I want to have straight A's. I can promise you this. If you believe it's impossible for you to have straight A's because of COVID, right? Like, oh, it's COVID. I'm not good with online learning. If you think that it's impossible for anybody to do well, that's hopelessness. If you feel that it was possible for you, as long as you had a teacher, that's helplessness. All right. You seeing the difference? Both will prevent you from getting straight A's. All right. So the next job I have for you guys, because remember, we want to make a change today. I don't want to just motivate you. I want you to make a change today on this call. So the step number one of you guys getting rid of hopelessness and helplessness is first you got to be aware of it. All right. You got to identify it. So can you guys think about it for a moment? Think about one area right now that you can identify that you feel either hopeless or helpless, or maybe both, in an area. And you may not know that it's holding you back, but just tell me this area and put it in the chat so I can read it. All right, let's see what you guys come up with. So I see school, grades. I want to be a clinical social worker. Oh, that's cool. Nice, Kennedy. I have been working and I've been trying to get a PC and I already have $450. Good job, Hudson. I feel like I do not have time for anything because I play 2 sports. I work, I do school, but I don't have time for school because I'm busy all the time and I'm exhausted. Now, if this speaks to you, raise your hand because then we're going to talk about that. Let's see. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going with that one. All right. We're going with that one. Now, before we go there, I need you guys to do something. If you guys been with me, you know how it is. Naturally, our brains, our mind will wander off. All right. So I'm talking and eventually you'll tune me out. It just happens. So I want you to do this in class as well. Anytime you find yourself dozing off or thinking about something else, you have to do a fast movement because that would interrupt your pattern because it's a pattern. Trust me. You dozing off is like clockwork. If I had a robot right now, they would doze off or think about something else at the exact same time you're doing it. So real quick, do a fast move that you either stand up really fast, sit down really fast. You can throw your hands up. You can punch the camera. You can high five me, whatever you want to do. Do something quick right now. Quickly. Come on. All right, cool. Here we go. Let's start. So everyone is feeling this way. Not everyone, but I think most of you guys. I don't have time for anything. Okay, Mom, you got me doing chores. There's church, I got to go to church. I got to study. I have to do assignments. I'm in this sport. I got to practice. I need some me time, right? I need some me time. It's like, it's not enough time in a day. Now, if you're hopeless in that area, raise your hand. Let me see all the hopeless people. Hopeless in that area. And then where are all the helpless people? Raise their hand. Helpless people. Helpless. All right. Now, they're kind of similar, but there are different strategies. All right. We're going to do different strategies. So I'm going to go with the hopeless people first. So that means that you believe there's just no hope of having enough time to do everything you need to do and still do it to a high level. There's just no time. And when we think about hopelessness, we're talking about like everyone. Like it's not just you personally. It's like everyone. You're like, hey, trust me, any teenager that plays 2 sports and has school, they're going to struggle. That's hopelessness. Hopelessness is I'm struggling because I don't have blank, or I'm struggling because my parents are stressing me out because they're always nagging me about school, right? That's helplessness. I can do nothing about it. All right, here we go. So if you're hopeless, first you have to be aware of it. Okay, so that's number 1. Write it down. Awareness. That's the key. Awareness. You have to find the area that you're hopeless because you don't want this a part of you. It will hold you back. Trust me. Even if you're new to this whole life coaching thing, Cecilia, I'm not sure if you're new to it, but if you're new to life coaching, just use some logic for me a little bit. Happy people. All right. So say you're the happiest. Think back to a time when you're extremely happy. I mean, like you're just so happy. Vacation, hanging out with your friends. Are you more likely to have a positive outlook on life when you're happy? Yes or no? Yes. Are you more likely to be nicer to people when you're happy? Yes. Are you more likely to try new things when you're happy? Yes. Are you more likely to give more effort when you're happy? Yes. Now let's do the other one. If you're sad, extremely sad or extremely mad, are you nicer to people when you're extremely sad or extremely mad? No, not really. Are you more likely to try something new when you're mad or sad? No. Are you more likely to take action necessary towards your goal when you're sad or mad? No. So it's actually kind of logic. Like you don't have to know a lot about life coaching to understand like, hey, the key to me getting what I want are my emotions. How I feel determines what I get. Okay. So AJ was like, hey man, I'm a C student, but I want to be A's. Well, if he's like, hey, school is boring, man. This homework is boring. If that's the way he feels, guess what? It's boring. So there's no desire to take action. But imagine if AJ saw school the way he saw like sports or the way he saw video games or whatever he's into. Then he's going to be naturally go hang out. I always tell, when you think of it, does your parents have to force you to hang out with your friends? For the most of you, no. I mean, some of you kind of shy, maybe. Yeah, but I'm saying for those of you who truly enjoy having fun with your friends, your parents have to say, hey, you're in trouble. Why, Mom? Why am I in trouble? You didn't go have fun with your friends, right? That's never the case, ever. You just go have fun. You naturally go do it. So that's what we want to do with you guys. So the key is, one, to be aware. All right. Once you find awareness. Number two, you have to be clear about the objective. Okay. Write that down. The objective has to be clear. Okay. So earlier, someone said, I want better grades. Better grades is not clear to me, right? Because if you're a C student, better grades is a C plus. But I know you don't want a C plus, right? So you want to be clear about the objective you're trying to go after. Someone wrote, I want a better relationship with my mom. Raise your hand right now if you want a better relationship with your mom or your dad. Okay, Tori, I see Gabe, I see Georgia. Is Lorena?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hey, so everyone give Lorena a high five for joining us, for getting on here. Thank you so much. All right, now talk to me. You want a better relationship with your parents?
Yes.
With both or your mom or your dad?
Dad.
Oh, dad. Okay, so dad. Okay. So if I was your coach, right, and we're saying that we need awareness, so you already identify that area. Now, are you hopeless in that area or helpless? What do you think?
Helpless.
Okay, so that means that you see that there's an opportunity for you guys to have a good relationship, but you just don't have what it takes to make that happen.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So that's helpless, right? So tell me, when you say a better relationship, and this is for everyone, guys, whenever you are deciding on an objective, okay? Everybody can remember that step number 2 is objective. You have to be clear on your objective, right? A better relationship to Lorena is different than a better relationship than Tatum, which is different than a better relationship than Owen, than Tari, than Nishka, than Daniel, than Isaac, than Delaney, Landon. All you guys have different definitions of what you consider a better relationship. So if you say better relationship, that's not clear. That's not an objective, okay? So you have to be clear on your objective. So tell me, Lorena, what is your definition of a better relationship with your father?
Being able to see him.
Okay. So Lorena is saying that her definition of better relationship is seeing him more. Now, I don't know how comfortable you are with sharing certain things, but you go as comfortable as you are comfortable. I don't want to kind of pry too much, but what is preventing you from seeing your dad?
He lives in Boston.
Got it.
I live in Pennsylvania.
Got it. Okay, so it's a distance thing. All right, we're moving along, guys, so follow along with me. So step number 1 is awareness. All right, so she was aware. Step number 2 is the objective. All right, the objective. And I know, remember, I know I go off track a lot, but I do remember. So I know we're still going to talk about the idea of being exhausted and being too busy. We're going to get there, but you can apply principles to everything. But I really want to kind of go here with Lorena. So number 2 is you have to be objective. So she knows her objective. I want to see him more, right? Now, give me a thumbs up if you think I want to see my dad more is a clear objective, thumbs up, or if it's not clear, thumbs down. What do you think? I see thumbs up, I see thumbs down, I see thumbs up, 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 up. All right. So you guys are just learning about objectives. It's not clear. Think about it. What is more? More is not clear, right? How can I help you, anyone, get what you want when we don't know what you want, right? Like if you're telling me, hey, I want more money. Well, I'm like, hey, I know a fast way to get $1. Think about it. I just helped you. I'm successful, man. I'm a great coach. I helped you get $1 because you said more. Now, if you told me, no, RJ, I want $3,000 a month. Okay, now I can come up with a strategy to help us get there. So I'm going to go to Lorena because she said, I want to see my dad more. Let's get clear on that. So tell me in an ideal world or where you are now, how many times would you need to see your dad before you felt like, hey, we have a good relationship?
At least once a week.
Okay, once a week. All right, perfect. So you guys are writing this down. So step number 1 is you have to be aware of the issue. Number 2 is you have to be very clear on her objective. Now, give me a thumbs up if this objective is clear, thumbs down if it's not clear. What do you guys think? She said once a week. And then for her, once a week is a better relationship with her dad. Okay, I see thumbs up, and I'm agree with you guys. It's clear. Once a week, I need to see him. Oh, maybe not. Hold on. I just thought of something. Maybe it's not as clear as I hoped. Now, there's some more clarity we need. Physically see him or virtually see him? Does that matter? Let me see. I'm going to go back to you.
Physically see him.
Okay, so now we're clear. So for Lorena to achieve her objective, which her objective is a better relationship with her dad, which she defined it as once a week in person. Okay. That's her objective. What's holding her back is her being helpless. Okay. She's feeling helpless, which is normal. We're not picking on her by any means. It's natural to feel helpless, right? Like she doesn't like she is on her own. She has all this money. She has a car and she could just drive and go see him, right? So then the next step is this. Write it down. This is the next step. What have you tried? That's the next step. Write it down. All right. So first you want to be aware that you're hopeless or helpless. Second, the objective, clear on your objective, clear, like not just more or better. You want clarity. 3 is to ask yourself, what have I tried? And write it down. All right, Lorena, I'm coming back to you. What have you tried so far to get to your objective?
I tried calling him.
Okay. All right. What else?
Well, he's always busy, so he doesn't really answer the calls.
All right. So what have you tried towards your objective of seeing him physically?
I can't really physically see him. I don't really know how to say that, actually.
So you say, I can't physically see him. Now we're either back to helpless and hopeless again. So which one is that one?
Hopeless.
So that means is like you believe it's impossible to see him at this point.
I don't believe it's impossible, but it's his work isn't there, so I don't really know how to explain it.
Okay, let me take it there. So you're saying his work, it has something to do with his job.
Yeah.
So he's very busy to the point it's very difficult for him to travel to see you because his job is so busy.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Now, I'm going to explain something to you guys. And remember, first of all, I appreciate you sharing this with us. I think it means a lot that you would be open enough to share this with everyone, because I do believe there are people, whether on this call or listening, may have experienced the same thing, right? So what we're doing is trying to help everyone. And I want you guys to apply it to your own situation. Maybe it's not a father, maybe it's a mother, but maybe it's a best friend, right? So apply it to different situations. But the key is you want to avoid being hopeless or helpless. Did you see how that happened? It's like we're walking it through the objectives, and then we go to the question, and this is why we ask this question. What have you tried? Immediately her brain, and this everyone's brain does this, so it's not just her, my brain does it too, but I'm just aware, so I overcome it quickly. But naturally your brain would be like, oh, I can't. That word, I can't, or it's impossible, or it would never happen. That is what's going to happen next. That's why we ask this question. I want you to get to that point, because once you get to that point, now we can attack it. Okay, does that make sense? So you ask yourself, what have I tried? You go through everything you tried, and you be like, you know what? It's impossible. His work is too busy. Now, if she believed that, if she believed she was hopeless or helpless, and she believed that, would there ever be a change? Probably not. Outside of like some luck, maybe he got fired and maybe he can't come see her or something like that. I don't know. But maybe some luck happens, or maybe a change of heart. Maybe her dad gets a life coach and he'd be like, wait a minute, there's more time, right? Because we're going to get to this whole time aspect. We all have 24 hours. Yet some people find ways to get more things done than others, right? We all have 24 hours because it's all about the way you think about time. So maybe he gets a life coach and then he goes see her. That's possible. But remember my saying, luck is possible, but I don't want to wait on it. All right. This is what I say about everything. I'm like, hey, I'm not saying if luck is real or not. I don't know. I know some people, won the lottery, call it luck, but I'm not waiting for that to make money, right? You can sit back and play the lottery like, oh, one day, hopefully the money I win, or you can go out and make money, right? So it's the same thing with Lorena right now. There's this idea like, hey, it's possible. The stars will align and my dad has time to see me. It's possible. It can happen. But guess what? Now that she has a life coach, we're not going to wait for that to happen. We want to take action today. We don't want to wait. All right. That's how it works. We don't wait. Whatever you want, don't wait for luck. It may never come. You take action today. So, Lorena, I'm back at you. Here we go. Let me unmute you. So once you guys went through your possibilities, and then it came back to you again, like, oh, I can't, this is impossible. Now you're right where you want to be. Okay. You're right where you want to be because you've already been aware of this. You knew this was going to happen. You know that your mind is telling you it's not possible. Now, the next thing you want to do from this point, Lorena, is to ask yourself a different question. Okay. And this is the question I want you to ask, and specifically your case. What can I do today that will get me one step closer to getting to my objective? Okay. Everybody write that down. What is one thing that I can do today, like right now, that will get me one step closer to my objective? Because I'm gonna ask you guys this question. Is it truly impossible for her to see her dad every week? Is that impossible? The answer is clearly no, it's not impossible. Now, there may have to be some things working, right? Like a Lorena maybe has to like get her mom involved or maybe her dad involved, and they have to come up with something, but it's possible. And if that's her objective, we want her to take action today to get one step closer to that. Because we know the way things happen, you take action. If I told you right now, walk to Austin, Texas. Some of you like Kaya, she lives in Austin, so I'm not talking to Kaya. But for all of you guys who live outside of Texas, if I say, hey, Asby, walk to Texas, is it possible? Some people be like, oh, it's not possible, RJ. Oh, it's definitely possible. You take one step, and then you take another step. And you take another step, you take another step. You get a drink of water, maybe take a break, and you keep walking. Eventually, you'll get there, right? Now, that's 80%, but then obviously the 20% is strategy. So, Lorraine, I'm back at you. What is that? What is the one thing you could do today that will get you one step closer?
I guess like telling him that I want to see him every week or like tell my mom. I don't really know how to answer that.
That's perfect. So she said the words, I don't know. That's what I expected to say. You know why? Why would her mind say, I don't know? Mackenzie, you know the answer. Come on, Mackenzie. I see you dozing off. Wake up. What's the answer? So why doesn't she know this? All of you guys can go through this too. So you're watching Lorena goes through this, but you guys are going to go through this too. Of course she doesn't know. We just talked about this. Your mind is on a pattern. All right. What we're doing right now is interrupting her pattern. She's probably never thought this way before, right? Because she was feeling hopeless or helpless. Of course she wouldn't think this way. So her mind was in a pattern. Well, this is the way it's going to be. Nothing you can do about it. You got to wait for magically one day for something to change. But now she's asking her mind a different question. And this new question is changing the pattern. So the mind is kind of freaking out. Like, wait a minute, what is happening here? I'm not used to this. Abort mission. Like it's confused, right? So now whenever you don't know, you're in a good position to be in. That's a good response. I don't know. Because what is the next thing that she's going to do? What's the next step? Think about it, all right? Say, hey, what can I do possibly? What can I do? Now, she was trying to go somewhere. Maybe ask my mom, but then her mind shut that down. And maybe I asked my dad, but her mind shut that down. Now, I gave her a few more minutes to think about it, so let's see what she came up with. All right, Lorena, talk to me. What did you come up with?
I think telling my mom to contact my dad and like ask him if he could at least come for like Father's Day or something.
Okay. So it sounds like Lorena's thinking is like, okay, first, my goal is to get to once a week. But before I get to once a week, I at least need to get him to come a little bit for Father's Day. That's what we call a strategy. Okay? This is a strategy. All right? So if you're with me and you're new, write that down. A strategy. It's super important that you call whatever you do a strategy. You have to call it a strategy. If you don't label it as a strategy, you're going to go right back to feeling hopeless again. I'm telling you, trust me, I've been doing this for too long. Okay? Call it a strategy. You with me, Jason? Punch the camera if you're with me. I got to make sure you guys with me. Punch the camera. Punch it. Come on, Mackenzie. All right. Thank you, Josie. So you have to call it a strategy. Now, this is a mental trick that I'm teaching you. Okay? This is like a ninja mental trick. Okay? You have to call it a strategy because your mind understands that strategies are different than who you are as a person. Okay? Or even the likelihood that you're going to be successful. If you don't call it a strategy, this is going to happen. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to play it ahead of time. I can't predict the future, but I do know this. Lorena's going to be like, okay, I'm going to go tell my mom. So she's going to go to her mom and say, Mom, I want my dad to come. And then the mom calls the dad. The dad says, hey, I'm going to try to come. Dad can't come. What's going to happen to Lorena? She's going to go right back to feeling hopeless and helpless, right? It's natural. That's the program. It's in her head. She can't help it. It's programmed. But when Lorena does something different, she's going to call this a strategy. So in her mind, she says, okay, today, my strategy is going to my mom and asking about my dad. Now, why is it important that we label it a strategy? Why? Why do you think? Why is that so important? All right, so I'm going to tell you the answer. The reason why you want to call it a strategy is because we know that strategies will sometimes work and strategies will sometimes not work. But guess what? If it's called a strategy, then you don't take it personal. You don't look internal because we know strategies is that's what it is. It may work, it may not. Because what do you do whenever a strategy doesn't work? What do you do? So let's say, for instance, you wanted to ride a bike for the first time. Everyone knows how to ride a bike. Is that correct? Is there anyone who still has not learned how to ride a bike? I didn't think so. Everybody knows how to ride a bike. All right. So some of you, raise your hand if you use training wheels. Raise your hand if you use like this new thing I'm finding is a balance bike. I don't know if they had that when you guys were kids, but they have it now. Raise your hand if you use a balance bike. Oh, that's a new thing. See, because we're debating getting my kid, I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, whether we're going to give him a balance bike or a training wheels. But in any case, this other person said, my dad would just take off running and just push me. Who did that? Who did that? Raise your hand if your dad did that. Okay, listen, what just happened here? Okay, what just happened? All of you guys just shared with me a strategy. Some of you use training wheels. Nick said he watched someone else ride a bike and he learned. Someone else, like dad, pushed him, right? Now, let me ask you this question. Say, for instance, you watch someone like Mick and then you tried and you kept falling. What would you do? Try something else, right? That's what you do on strategies. If one strategy doesn't work, you try something else. This is the single most reason that most people struggle in school. Most people struggle in school because they do what? They do the same strategy. Now, who knows the definition of insanity? I'm sure you guys know this. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So if you're waiting to the last minute to study and you're finding yourself not getting A's, that's a strategy. It's not working. You got to change the strategy. Now, back to Lorena. Lorena's going to call this a strategy because if it doesn't work, she will go back to her room and it feel hopeless again. She called it a strategy, so she knows strategies. If something doesn't work, you try something else. So what does she do? She asks her mind the same question. What else could I do to get one step closer to my dad? Now, if Lorena continued to do this consistently, her chances of being successful is literally almost 100%. Can't say 100% because, the strategy is definitely a role there. Even if it means convincing her dad to come, that's also a strategy. Maybe it's not her physically doing anything. Maybe it's her telling her dad to say, hey, daddy, I know that you are extremely busy with work. And I think that's awesome that you work so hard for us. I really appreciate that. I think it's amazing. Now, I would love to see you more. So can we brainstorm together to think of ways of how we can see each other? I'm open to any suggestions, but I just want to just brainstorm ways with me. Not too many parents out there would just be like, nope, I'm not doing that. Hang up the phone, right? I'm certain if she went to her dad and said that, he would be like, okay, let me think about it. And there's always a way. You have to just think that mindset is always a way. All right. So that makes sense. Raise your hand. That makes sense. Thank you, Lorena. I appreciate you helping us out. Now, I did go a little long, so I did not get time to talk about the people who were like exhausted with time and all that. You're in too much things. All right. So listen, this is what you do. I'm going to tell you really quickly. I want you to follow the same format. Okay. I want you to follow the same format. You got to identify it. And then you have to be clear on your objective. I think my friend here said that he's in 2 sports and he's struggling in school because he doesn't have enough time to do it all. So then he asked himself the question, what can I do today that would help me to play my 2 sports and do well in school? Next, he wants to label it a strategy. Now, his strategy may look like this. A couple ways you can go about this. I can focus on getting more time in the day. So how do you get more time in your day? You guys know this. How do you get more time in your day? I mean, obviously you can't create more time. You're not God. But how can you get more time in your day? Put it out there, chat. Come on, put it in there. How do you get more time in your day? Yes, Aiden, you wake up earlier. You just gain more time. You go to bed later. You gain more time. Now, I'm not recommending that you do anything because sleep is important. I don't know your sleep schedule. We're just talking about how do you get more time in your day? You become more efficient. Yes. Efficiency is always my first recommendation. Efficiency. Be efficient. Productivity. Yes. Stop waiting around and procrastinating. That is the answer. Spend less time eating. You're absolutely right. Some of you guys are snacking for hours. All right. It doesn't take that long to snack. Do things faster. Yes. So all of these are ways to get more time. I love efficiency. How do you get the same things done in one day, but get it done faster? So that means you don't have to wake up earlier. You don't have to go to bed later. But how do I become faster? And I can tell you one thing, faster is all about mental. You go to school. I'm going to tell you a quick trick real quick. Okay. This is the last thing I'm going to share with you for all of you school people. I'm going to tell you how to be more efficient at learning in school. If you do this, you will notice a drastic change. This is something very easy. This is something that has been proven. So this is not something that's just made up. It's proven. Okay. Scientists have proven this. The way to become faster at retaining information. So that means I'm studying, I'm in school listening to my teacher, is number 1, you have to think positively about what you're doing. All right, that's number 1. So write that down. So you can't be doing your homework and thinking like, oh, this is stupid. Like, why do we have to do this? Okay, you can't do that. That will slow you down. Not the words, but the way your brain processes the information. Okay, because remember, Your brain is like a program, a computer program. It's sifting through information and it wants to grab the most important. If you're like, hey, brain, this is stupid information, your brain was like, okay, well, I guess we don't need it. Very simple. So you have to think positively about what you're doing. In class, you cannot say that this is boring. If you say this is boring, then guess what? Your brain's going to shut off and you're not going to receive the information. All right, that's number one. Number two, you have to do movements. It may seem weird. You have to figure out a way of doing it in class where people won't be like, man, something's wrong with this kid. Because what happens naturally is that your brain drifts. Our attention span, especially these days, is super, super short. So as your teacher's teaching, your mind starts thinking about soccer or food or a movie you watched yesterday. So the way to get back on track is movements. Quick movements reset the brain, okay? So you can either stand up really fast, sit down really fast, turn around, raise your hand really quickly, okay? Now, why does this have to be fast? It's twofold. Whenever you do something fast, it brings energy to your body, okay? So if you're in class and you're just like, yeah, okay. If you start moving quickly, it don't have to be constantly, but just a quick move. Okay, I'm back in track. Then your brain starts to retain the information better, okay? So we got that. So think positively. Number two, quick movements whenever you start drifting off. Number three, you have to take notes. You have to take notes. If you're not taking notes, you're literally just asking to not do well. Now, some of this information comes naturally. You don't take notes, but I'm telling you, you're going to reach a point where you're going to have to take notes. Now, if you're like me, you're like, RJ, why would I take notes? I never read my notes. That's me. I'm telling you, I do it all the time. I'm in a seminar. I have a full page of notes and never read it again. But guess what? There's a trick to this. Whenever you take notes, it increases your brain retention. I think up to like 70-something%. I can't remember the numbers, but it like increases up to 70%, even if you don't look at it again. The act of writing down triggers your brain to receive that information more. So even if you're never going to read it again, still take notes. If you do these three things I just shared with you, you will become more efficient with learning. Now, there's other things we can do, but I just want to tell you the three things that I know you can start doing tomorrow. So tomorrow, do these things, and you're going to magically notice like, wow, I think I learned that faster than I've ever learned something before. Well, guess what that's called? Efficiency. Now, it's not taking you 5 hours or 2 hours. It's taking you 30 minutes to do your homework. Well, guess what? You just gained 30 minutes. You just gained an hour. So that's a little trick I want to share with you guys. But hey, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Good job, guys. See you later. Thanks again, Aiden. Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate you guys. Thanks, Lorena, for participating today. Everyone else, you guys are awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. I hope you enjoy listening to the group coaching session. And I also hope that you are able to learn something that would help strengthen the relationship between you and your teenager. Until next time, this is a teen's perspective, helping parents see the future.